very warm welcome to this Onepoint Wellness meditation session. My name is Els and I'm very happy to be with you here today. For those of you who are new, these sessions have been running on Fridays every fortnight now, and we have been running these sessions for a couple of years now. The sessions are organized by Onepoint Consulting, which is an IT consultancy company based in London. Several of us working for Onepoint have been meditating on a regular basis. And the meditation we practice is called Raja Yoga. It's the yoga of the mind. This practice is very helpful as we all live in a very fast-changing world, lots of challenges coming our way on a daily basis. And the meditation really helps not only in the workplace, but also in our personal lives. The idea came to share some of these ideas and meditation practices with a wider audience. And we hope that many can take benefit from this. The Oneness Project was launched way back in May 2020, which was in the middle of the COVID and pandemic time, and it was a very difficult time for many people. So far, we have had more than 150 international guest speakers who have contributed to this project. These are very experienced meditators from different professional backgrounds. All the sessions have been recorded and they are available on YouTube. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Yogesh Sharda, who joins us from Turkey. Yogesh was born in Africa, but he has an Indian background and he was brought up in London. He has been a personal development trainer and workshop facilitator for over 20 years. He runs seminars and workshops for hospitals, universities, business leaders in many countries. He has been practicing and studying Raja Yoga meditation for many years now, and he currently oversees all the activities of the meditation centers in Turkey. The topic for today is developing inner strength to thrive in a fast-changing world. So very warm welcome to you, Yogesh.
Thank you, Els. Thank you so much. And also a big thanks to everyone at Onepoint for continuing to provide these sessions in personal growth. We know we have been passing through challenging times. COVID was a point where we all had to look at ourselves and assess our lifestyles. But as that period we pass into the current period where there are still challenges and perhaps newer challenges that we all have to face. The economy, politics, wars, climate change, new technologies, especially AI. So all of these are things which we all, especially city dwellers, need to find a way to handle in order to maintain our inner peace and our happiness. And so one of the reasons why it may seem difficult to deal with the fast changing world outside of us is perhaps we pay less attention to the world inside of us. And in my experience, since the age of 8 or 9, when I was introduced to these ideas of meditation and self-awareness, it became very clear that as well as paying attention to the outer world, study and work and travel and so on, it's as important, in fact, even more important, to pay attention to the inner world of our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our perceptions, and so on. And I was quite surprised as I grew up how little attention people pay to that inner world. And I do believe that if we start paying better attention to our thoughts and to our awareness, then everything in our lives necessarily will upgrade. Our personal happiness, our health, our relationships, our performance at work, and so on. So to look more deeply at this topic, I'd like to share a few slides with you And so let's then go to the first one. So here we are looking at the basic plan that I think most of us are thrown into as we come into life. There is the basic plan. So on the left, as you can see, is you, and on the right is what we can describe as the aim of life. So, for example, if you were asked to share your good wishes, your thoughts to a newborn, you may say that, I hope you have peace of mind. I hope you are happy. I hope you are surrounded by love in your life. I hope you feel secure, and so on. And if a person has these in their life, then it's been a pretty good life. But then part of the plan is we are told in order to acquire this aim, you first have to get the means. You have to work for the means. And the means to acquire the aim are these. You need a good education, and so you'll get a new job, a good job. Through that job, you'll be able to earn lots. And through your earnings, you'll then have the luxuries of life, a nice house, a nice car, holidays, travel, and so on. And then, as a result, you will be happy. So that's the basic plan. Acquire the means, and as a result, you will achieve the aim. But something has gone wrong. What seems to have happened, as far as I can see, is that the means has become the aim. And so all of our effort and our attention goes to getting that education, getting that good job, having a large amount of money, having that big house, that car. So the whole focus and effort has gone on acquiring the means. The means has become the new aim. And if you are happy, if you have peace of mind, it's a bonus. So we need to do something to address this change in the plan. And that's really where I feel meditation, self-awareness, and spirituality play a big part. It's telling us, yes, be successful in your life, get those qualifications, get the best job you can, but do all that with peace of mind. Do that with your happiness. Do that whilst maintaining your relationships. In other words, do what you need to do, but not at the expense of your peace of mind and your happiness. First be, and then on the basis of that being, then do. Let's explore that a little bit more. So now we look at how we handle the challenges which come up in life. And for all of us, there are sometimes smaller challenges, sometimes bigger challenges. But let's explore this with the spiritual theory of relativity. It's very simple, and it tells us this. Now, if you look at figure number 1, on the left of the screen, it shows here is you, and next to you, there is a problem. A simple question: who's bigger, you or the problem? So obviously the problem is bigger than you, and this may cause you some anxiety, some stress, some tension. You may find yourself losing your peace of mind because of being consumed by this big problem. But now look at figure number 2. This is you, and here is the problem. The question arises, well, who is bigger now? You are bigger than the problem. But here's the important thing, and although this may seem very simplistic, it's really very, very important. The problem, the situation, the circumstance has not changed. It is the same science. But what has changed is you have grown. You have become bigger than the problem. And therefore, although it is still a problem, but for you, this is now a small problem. Now, what we tend to do whenever we have some kind of problem in our lives, we try to solve the problem. We find a problem-solving technique. But I believe this is the wrong thing to do. Before solving a problem, first I need to solve myself. In other words, make my mind stable, make it strong, make it secure. And when your mind is stable, strong, and secure, you are able to see solutions which you could not see before. If you try to solve any problem with a mind filled with anxiety and stress, you may make the problem even bigger. One very good piece of advice I was once given when I was a child is the way to deal with any adverse situation is to first stabilize your mind in peace and in your self-respect. First do that, then look at the situation. The reality is, the problem or the situation is a thing, but you and me, we are living energies, living beings. Ultimately, you are bigger than any problem. But when we forget ourselves and we put all the attention on the problem, then our tensions and our fears are ignited. That's the first thing to be aware of. I do have a choice as to how I approach the challenges, the problems which are outside of me. Now, how do we cultivate or develop our inner strength? Let's look at a formula which can help us to understand this better. Here we are. Our inner strength, which may manifest as our resilience or stability of mind, emotional stability, our inner strength is connected to two things. One is the effort we make. What effort means we'll look at in a moment, but also divided by the waste we also produce. Now, mostly when we want something to be better, when we want to improve the result of something, we tend to pay attention to making more effort, doing things better, working harder, paying more attention. And that's good, of course. But what we may sometimes forget to do is to look at the waste that we are also producing. And in the context of the mind, it's like this. First thing we have to do is to also check, what am I doing which is wasting the energy of my mind? I need to reduce and stop the wastage of my thought energy, my mental energy. And if I can do that, this will go a long way to improving my inner strength. The question arises, how do you reduce the waste? Well, we can look at words and also we can look at thoughts. Very simply, one thing we can all do is learn how to use our words more efficiently. Think of how many words you speak every day and how many of those are meaningful and useful words. If we can speak more essensfully and more economically, we save our verbal energy And hence we also save our mental energy, and as a result, our inner strength will continue to grow. If instead of saying something in 100 words, if I can say the same thing in 60 or 70 words, then I'm saving the energy of those 30 or 40 words. And for all of us, there's a great scope to be more essenceful in our speaking. Then we bring it up to the next level. Let's come to the thought level, which is really the area where yogis or meditators work. Can I pay more attention to my thought energy, my expenditure of my thought energy? Now consider thought energy to be as valuable, even more valuable than your money. When we buy something in a shop, we use the word spend. I spent this much on such an item. Because we are spending it, we pay attention to how much we are choosing to give away to the shopkeeper. In the same way, let me have this kind of attitude towards my thoughts. When I'm thinking of something or a situation or a person, I'm spending thought energy. Can I make my thoughts more useful? Can I make my thoughts more meaningful? And when we find ourselves overthinking, it's important to tell the mind, hey mind, stop. Full stop, that's enough. Now, of course, this is a challenge because the mind has a habit of racing, thinking too much. But as we practice learning how to slow down the mind, how to redirect our thought traffic, we begin to find our inner resilience, our inner strength is growing. How you measure that is to what extent is your peace of mind and your happiness in your own hands? To what extent can you tolerate or face a situation which previously made you ruffled or feel disturbed? Another thing to pay attention to reduce the wastage, is to see how much mental energy and emotional energy we waste simply chasing after the desires that the mind produces. Let's look at this in a bit more detail to see the inside story of desires. What happens with these desires? Okay, so I think you can see this. There are two types of desires that our mind produces. Here is one. These are called as temporary desires. So, for example, let's say you desire something, you want something, and somebody stops you from getting what you desire. And the result may be the emotion of anger is generated. And you can see this most obviously in children. If they don't get what they want, because that desire is there, it then changes form into anger. And if one maintains that anger, sustains it, it can become directed towards an individual, and it can turn into what is called as hatred. And some people maintain this kind of very toxic emotion for years, for decades, sometimes even for a lifetime towards a particular individual. Just think how much energy we are wasting when we feel angry. Now, that anger could be explosive anger, expressed in the form of shouting and screaming, banging things down, etc. Or it could be implosive anger, where you push it inside, you cut the communication, you stop talking to someone. Both of these are bad. how much energy we lose when we are caught up in the emotion of anger. Let's take a second example. You want something, you cannot have it, but there is no one to blame. For example, you want to go somewhere, but because of some reason, flights are cancelled, the weather is such, you cannot go, cannot do what you wish to. The result of that could be that temporary desire changes into disappointment, frustration. And if you keep recycling, thinking of the things which did not work out for you, then you can drive yourself into a state of feeling a bit depressed. Let's take a third example. Somebody else gets what you want. This can then result in the emotion of jealousy. Jealousy is a very dangerous energy and lead to all kinds of antisocial, dangerous behaviors. So what we see here is that all of these different emotional states are rooted in some form of temporary desire. And we all experience these to differing extents. But it's a good idea to explore the root cause of these. If I don't want to experience these energy draining emotions, what can I do about it? Let's look at then desires and why we need to pay attention to them. So here's a little formula just to help to make this a bit more obvious. So we have a sentence, two sentences. For sentence A, I don't get what I want. The result, I feel disappointed. Sentence B, I get what I don't want, or sometimes who I don't want, and the result is stress. So three things, A, B, and C, in each of these sentences. A is the getting, the not getting. B is the wanting or the not wanting. And C is the resulting emotion. So if we want to change C, we want to change disappointment and stress, what should we change? Should we work on A or should we work on B? Should I work on getting or should I explore what is all this wanting about? Now, the world of today tells us, work on getting what you want, and then you'll be happy. So all the focus, all the marketing world, all the consumer-based living tells us, get what you want, focus on getting what you want. The spirituality tells us, don't just focus on getting, ask yourself, what is all this wanting about? What is this wanting business? Why do you want what you want? What is behind wanting? Let's explore that. So this then leads us to understanding the second type of desire. The first one we looked at was temporary desire, and then the other one is known as the eternal desires. So what this is telling us here is that temporary desires are wants. What kind of wants? There are a few examples. Wanting praise from others, wanting some kind of prestige, physical property or possessions or objects, wanting power and status, other kinds of desires which are very subtle and hidden desires, the desire for some kind of attention, the desire to feel appreciated, the desire to be acknowledged for what I do, the desire to be accepted by someone or by a group of people, the desire to be admired in some way or to be honored in some way. Now, if you are chasing after these kinds of temporary desires, then it is endless. These desires can never be fully satisfied. It is the futile pursuit of temporary desires, and it leaves the mind feeling exhausted. When we're exhausted, of course, our inner strength is very low. But the good news is there is another kind of desire that the mind has, and these are eternal desires. These we can call as our needs. The temporary desires are our wants. The eternal desires are our needs. What are those basic needs of the inner self? The need for peace, the need for love, the need for happiness, the need for self-respect. These basic needs. And if you really think about it, you will find behind every want, there is a need. If I go for the eternal desires, for the needs, if I work on experiencing those needs and eternal desires, then automatically those temporary desires will reduce. You may have heard the saying that empty vessels make most noise. And it's very true also with the vessel of the mind. When we are lacking in inner peace, inner happiness, self-love, the mind produces the noise of so many desires, so many emotions, so many thoughts. And the more of these you produce, then the more drainage there is of our inner power. And the good news is that all of these eternal desires, this peace, this love, this joy, etc., they all already exist within every person, within our consciousness, in seed form. They are already there. But these seeds need to be watered. They need to be to be watered in order for them to germinate and to grow. And the name of that process of watering the seeds, that's what we call as Raj Yoga meditation. So meditation is not only just about sitting and practicing, there is that, but it's also to do with what's going on in your awareness as you're passing through the whole day. How can I maintain my inner peace and my inner strength as I'm passing through the day, going to work, in the tube, in the traffic, standing in the queue, dealing with people at work, handling clients, customers, colleagues? What is in my awareness as I'm passing through the day-to-day life? Now, I'm just going to show one last slide. Won't go into too much detail, but just to give a pointer as to the difference between a person who meditates and a person who is a meditator. Many people meditate, finding a few minutes every day to do some kind of practice, and that's great. For some people, that can be enough. But to be a meditator means it's a lifestyle. And that means as you pass through day-to-day life, one part of you is naturally vigilant and aware to check, what am I doing with my thoughts? Am I in a state of peace? Am I maintaining my inner dignity? There comes the last slide to highlight this idea. There it is. It tells us that most of the time, most of us are living in our minds in the doing and the having zones, which means most of the day our thoughts are concerned with the things I have to do, which may be related to my job, my roles, my responsibilities. Have to go here, have to be at that meeting, have to produce this report, have to handle such and such. Or our thoughts are concerned with the things that we have. So, for example, our family, responsibilities, our relationships, and even for our body, things we have, our nationality, our culture, our race, all the things connected to what I have. Now, when you associate and identify with what you do and what you have, this generates this slippery, slimy, shape-shifting creature called ego. And if we are living within this ego zone, then necessarily ego-based emotions will arise. And those ego-based emotions are exhausting. They drain the energy of the inner self, such as anger, such as tension, such as fear, such as anxiety. All of those difficult emotions are the children of ego. And what we learn in meditation is you are not what you do, you are not what you have, but you are. You are what? You are the inner being. You are the spiritual energy. You are the soul. You are the consciousness. We practice living in that awareness. We practice seeing the self as the inner being of peace, experiencing it in meditation, and then trying to maintain that awareness through the day. One more slide. Sorry, it wasn't the last one. It's just an image to give us an idea of how to maintain the visual image in meditation and through the day. That awareness that this face, this whole body is my costume, and I am that inner being of peace and light. I am the spiritual energy. So let's do this then, just to finish off. Let's have a few moments of reflection to experience this inner state of peace. So if this is new for you, then it can help if you have your back straight, feet flat on the floor. If it helps to look at this image, then do so. And I'll speak out a few guiding words as a simple commentary. So let's take a few moments to relax the body and to relax the mind. I know that in daily life, I play many different roles. Some are my work roles, my family roles, my general relationships. I also carry various labels. I wear different masks in my day-to-day life. But who am I behind the roles? Who am I behind the labels? Who am I behind the masks? Even when I look in the mirror and see the reflection of my face, my body, but there is more to me than simply this. So I bring my attention up towards my face, bring my attention to the center of the forehead, And here I picture this very beautiful star of peaceful light. It's wonderful living energy of peaceful light in the center of the forehead. This is me. This is I, the eternal self. This is I, the inner being of peace. Peace and light, eternal, still. Let me maintain this awareness of my true and deepest identity and light and peace and eternal.
Thank you, Yogesh, for guiding us into this short but very powerful meditation experience. And also, of course, for sharing your thoughts on this topic. It was very interesting how you explained with the slides that to understand that I'm bigger than the problem, not the other way around. And also that each time when I face a challenging situation, it is so good to first go inside, stabilize my mind, and then look at the problem. So thank you so much for sharing that, for your thoughts and your slides. Thank you to the technical team and for those who have joined us today. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and we are looking forward to welcoming you again at the next One Point Wellness session. Bye-bye.